Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Aaron, and I'm excited to show you a design that really connected with me when I saw it at SHOT Show 2017. We're looking at the CRKT Humdinger that was designed by Ken Onion, a super iconic knife designer who has made some of the most popular knife designs on the market in the last 10 to 20 years.
Look at that, holy crap.
So the Humdinger is designed to be that camp knife to have around the campsite to prepare your food and also prepare like a fire, maybe do some carving and whittling, make a spear, if you want to try your bushcraft skills out and be able to do some of those basic tasks. That's what the Humdinger has been designed to do. What really stood out to me was not only it's a really ergonomic handle. The handle seems to be very ergonomic from its look, and we're going to see how it actually performs today, but also its blade profile, this continuous sweep with kind of a sweep up on the tip. You just don't see a lot of that out there, and that usually lends itself to be a really good performer. So we're going to see how it performs today. But I also wanted to see how a $50 knife, and that's what this thing comes in at, and we're going to have links in the description below, not only over to Amazon but also Blade HQ. When you guys use those hyperlinks, helps us get out here just like we are today and doing reviews for you guys. We get a small kickback from those hyperlinks over to Blade HQ and Amazon, so we'll have links below. So at the end of this video, if you see value in the Humdinger and if it's a Humdinger for you, if you guys use those hyperlinks, it helps us continue to give you guys full, honest reviews. And on top of everything in its design, I also want to see how the 65 MN steel performs. Now that's a Chinese high carbon, from what I understand is kind of around 1075. I've used it on a couple larger machete style blades like from Kershaw and CRKT, but I've never used it on a more compact, camp size knife. So I want to see how this 65 MN steel not only holds its edge, but also how tough and durable it is. So let's go ahead and get to it and see if this Humdinger is going to give us trying to keep it PG here, and see if this is going to be worth throwing into a system and taking on your next outing when you're out in the woods. So let's go ahead and see what this blade can do. So let's go ahead and hit the actual blade itself, its performance. First off, just the design is epic, and I mean epic. The full continuous sweeping of the blade, huge belly from like here to here. This thing is a wicked slicer, regardless if it's food prep or if it's just woods craft and that type of thing. Feather stick making, notching, all that. Even like light hacking. Obviously this isn't a heavy duty knife, it doesn't weigh a ton. It's pretty lightweight, but if you just need to like hack off for a spear or something like that, some tip of a piece of wood, it really does well. And so that continuous sweep, going through even like man-made materials like cordage, if you're around your campsite and you're setting up a lean-to, or setting up your tent or whatever you're doing, hanging a bear bag or whatever, really slices phenomenally well, and then still giving you that good solid thick stock with that really high grind. Really appreciate that. Really well designed. In that fuller, just giving you some cool styling as well. Just a very mild swedge, really mild, doesn't affect your baton stick or anything like that, and will absolutely split that kindling for your fire. And just really, I was super happy with it, and it outperforms a lot of other knives, not only its price range, but size range, because of the balance and just the overall profile with that continuous sweep when you are looking at camp style tasks. Now the real, sticking point that I wanted to see was that MN65 steel. Again, I've only used that once or twice before on heavy machetes, and have not used it in a more compact tool. And I got to tell you that for the price, I was really stoked and really happy with it. It's still holding a great edge. I've yet to have to tune it up in any way, shape, or form. Didn't cause any burrs, any chipping, any rolling with all of the work that you've seen here in this video several times out on the trail, as well as around the home, doing food and batoning and light hacking. So I was really happy. No chips, no burring. So I would say that if you're familiar with, like, say, Condor knife and tools 1075, this is better than 1075. I wouldn't say it's necessarily up there with like US, 1095, but close. So I'm really stoked for what they have produced, and I'm totally fine. It must be probably the heat treat that they're doing, and just the edge geometry and all of that working together to give you a budget-friendly tool with a high carbon steel that's going to be tough, durable, and hold a good edge, with it being relatively easy to put that edge back on because it is that high carbon type of steel. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the handle. The handle ergonomics are really good. I like the handle ergonomics a lot. It's like a polypropylene, rubberized handle, and you can just see here that they did a really good job giving you lots of contouring. I wear large size gloves, as you guys know. Really good guard here, so that's going to keep me really locked into place and pretty close to the edge. It's about a ½ an inch right there. I don't like blades that are really far away where the cutting edge starts. Very small little ricasso area right here, and then a little bit of a sweep, but no jimping or anything. So this is going to give me really good control up near the neck, which I really appreciate. And then that nice palm swell right there. Going to fill out my hands really well. You can see I got plenty of room to spare off the back end. You got that nice generous lanyard hole, just really well contoured. And for, like out here, I think it's like 22 to 24 degrees today. It's going to be really warm to the touch versus, something that's like handle scales and, steel, and it's just going to be a lot colder when you don't have your when you don't have your gloves on. When you do have gloves on, this will also help because you'll be able to grip it better just because of how the contouring and the swelling. It just feels very ergonomic. Not going to create a lot of hot spots with this knife. Now, the thing to note is that this knife definitely narrows down and then comes through. I do not know where the tang ends. I would say it's probably a partial tang. I would be really surprised if it went the whole length down to the lanyard hole. I'll try and do some more research and confirm that. If possible, I'll annotate it in. But I would say this was either a partial tang or like a stick tang, just because of how wide the blade profile is and then how the handle goes in there. But with the batoning and light hacking that we've been doing, I haven't seen any sort of rattling or loosening up, and that doesn't really bother me for doing like camp tasks. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a survival knife. I would say this is a camp knife. And its handle lends itself to be that style of blade that you can use for a long period of time, and it's going to feel warm to the touch and not create a lot of hot spots. So I wanted to roll in other knives in this $50-ish price range and just kind of talk concept where the Humdinger falls in compared to these other ones here. Now, and I want to particularly hit the SRK in SK5 steel. A lot of you will probably be kind of weighing the two. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not seeing a lot of difference between the two steel performances. It's good. I wouldn't put it on the level of 1095 from like SE or K-Bar, but it is, holding a decent edge, and it's really easy to get an edge back on it. And just the continuous sweep, high grind there is just phenomenal. And in the woods will outperform the SK version of the SRK in every outdoor woods task. It just has way more belly, higher grind, and is just designed for the woods, whereas the SRK is much more designed as that combat utility knife. So that would be something to consider and weigh the odds with. Same with like the Gerber in 420 high carbon, Gerber strong arm, definitely more of a combat style feel knife. And though very competitive in price point and sheath options and stuff, this one will be lighter and obviously a little bit smaller than the Humdinger, but because the grind angle is shorter with that saber grind than the very high grind that we have here, again with continuous sweep, again when it comes to camp tasks, food prep, feather stick making, and basic bushcraft camp tasks, the Humdinger, because of its blade profile and design, will outperform a knife like the Gerber strong arm in the woods. Now, it's nowhere near as tough and durable as the strong arm, and definitely again being more of a combat utility knife, but that is something to consider when you are deciding where to put the knife. And really, the only knife that can kind of in this price range that I own and that I can think of that we've reviewed in recent years is the Schrade SCHF 42D in 1095. It is Asian produced, I believe in Taiwan, and is a really good knife and a really good competitor to the Humdinger, but it is going to be smaller, so that is something to consider. And the handle ergonomics are good, but they're not as good as the Humdinger, particularly in cold weather and those type of things. Granted, the Schrade is full tang, but and it basically has an FFG, so you will get very similar performance, but there are some differences, again, with a little bit larger blade profile on the Humdinger. So those are really the only two that even come close to each other in performance. And out in the woods, again, I'm talking the woods, the Humdinger will absolutely outperform these two guys down here. So let's take a look here at the Sheath. I'm actually really impressed for the price point, usually at around, again, the $50 price point. You would expect to probably have some sort of cruddy nylon that you're going to want to upgrade if this was like one of your go-to blades, but you're actually getting a decent polymer sheath. So what we have here is that polymer, and it's been molded really well. It has a whole nylon backing that either you can completely take off or add on. So those are options as well, which is really nice. But the webbing and the nylon is decent. It's not the highest grade nylon I've seen out there. Obviously all overseas produced, but a very large belt loop right there. Good Molly Pals attachments on the back here. This is obviously ambidextrous, so you can just swap this right or left. That's a really good bonus. All these Velcro straps, keep that all mounted there into place. And then you got your button snap right here. I mean, this thing has a little bit of rattle, but it's not gonna wanna come out at all. Very secure, nice large thumb ramp. Taco design, and pulls out, and then you're able to get it back in there. You kind of got to fight with it, but again, for 50 bucks or less, you know, depending on where you get it from, this thing I think is very decent, and you're actually getting a sheath that you don't really have any need to upgrade for the foreseeable future, which is always a plus. So after having used this several times out, guys, I think this is a rockin' camp knife at 50 bucks or less. I really wouldn't pay more than that. Then you're starting to get into some other USA made stuff, you know, like Rat Model 7s and those type of things when you start looking at maybe like 60, 70 bucks. So I would definitely pay about 50 or less. But for that price point, I think this is an awesome camp knife. You're getting that great handle ergonomics, great profile on this blade for every type of camp task that you would do around a fire. I mean, that's what we've been doing here today. And, you know, prepping your food, prepping your wood. The belly is really what makes this thing, for me, stand out, but it just comes in a great package, giving you good ergonomics and a good polymer sheath for that price point. It's hard to compete for a camp knife. Now, again, if you're looking at more like combat tactical knives, there's a lot of other stuff out there. If you're looking at pure bushcraft, you know, but for just that general purpose utility outdoor knife, I think CRKT and Ken Onion producing this Humdinger really did an awesome job, and I would totally recommend it if you're on a budget and you're looking for just a cool camp knife. So I want to thank you guys for coming over here today and checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. If you are not a current subscriber here at Gideon's Tactical, I would encourage you to consider making us part of your regular YouTube experience. We're throwing up videos every single week. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook as well. That's another way to stay connected and just see upcoming stuff that we're working on. And finally, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. We'll see you out there.